Hello Earthlings, Neutron Sound back here again, slinging those reviews your way. Today we are examining the new Dutch Uncles album, Big Balloon. This is their fifth album. They are a prog art, pop, rock, indie thing outfit from Manchester. This is their first album with only one guitarist since Spedding left after the release of their previous album, Oh Shudder. So to compensate for that, I think Robin Richards, the bassist and main composer, is also overdubbing some guitar, along with Pete Broadhead, the remaining guitarist. Over the course of their last few albums, it kind of seems like either critics or maybe Robin has been sort of pulling the musical focus away from his penchant for odd time signatures that defined the sound of their early hits like Face In and Cadenza. Kind of around their third album, Out of Touch in the Wild, it seemed like the critics were latching on more to singer Duncan Wallace's lyrics, his kind of bleak, sort of objective lyrics about hiding behind an internet profile or wanting to get in and out of the friend zone or job interviews or stuff like that. I mean, he was already doing it kind of from the get-go. I mean, you can hear it on, like, the opening lyric of Cadenza, I didn't want to know, I'd never count on hope. It's a typical Duncan Wallace lyric, but at the same time, the piano riff is it's got that thing to it that we just can't help but listen to. But I think they've made more of a shift towards a lyrical focus as of late without giving up the odd rhythms and the quartal harmony. But anyway, let's get to the music on Big Balloon. So it starts with the title track and lead single, and it's one of the best songs on the album already. It's a really driving shuffle, a bit like Use It by the New Pornographers, but not really. It's just at a similar tempo, and it's a shuffle. It kind of proves a thing I've thought a lot, which is that Dutch Uncles are to art rock what Meshuggah are to metal. I mean, if you took the bass line and the drum groove and maybe the lead guitar part that Pete plays after the chorus, and you just took away the piano and rhythm guitar chords, and you took the rhythm of the lyrics, but you had Jens Kidman scream them, it would sound exactly like Meshuggah. But as it is, it's, as I said, one of the best songs on the album. It's definitely, it'll become a classic if they get old. They seem really happy to be playing in 4/4, or just really happy, because Andy Proudfoot, the drummer, really goes for it, really bashes away. Pete's guitar is really at the front along with Duncan's vocals, and it's the classic Uncles thing of writing a happy sounding song about something like antidepressants. Make me glad I didn't know that. Open out like a big balloon, make me high. Track 2 is Baskin Robbins' attempt to write a sequel to Fragrant. Did I just say Baskin Robbins? Yes, I did. But it does have quite a few echoes of Fragrant, and Pete's guitar chords kind of hit you in weird places on this one. And there are some nice call and response vocals that Duncan does with himself. How, 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 how. And then Combobox has another Meshuggah type bass line with some dual guitar riffs like on their older albums. But it's a lot funkier, and it's got some lower range distorted vocals as opposed to Duncan's higher, slightly androgynous sound. There's some nice processed horns on the bridge, which I initially thought was a synth, but they are actually horns, and they come in again at the end of this dark punky thing for one last chord, which is nice. Same Plain Dream uses the same Uncle's time signature trick that they did on Face In and Cadenza and Fester and Decided Knowledge as well. It's got a nice contrast between the verse and the chorus, where the verse, you've got two guitars playing counterpoint in this Lydian thing, and it's real dark sounding, and the bass is playing something different, and the drums. But on the chorus, you get these spacey synth pads and some chorus guitar. Unusually, you actually get to hear Robbins' bass alone, which is nice, since he's the main composer. And then A Chameleon is kind of the piano ballad of the album, although there is a strong sense of rhythm. Not just acoustic, there's some electric piano, maybe a bit of synth, some faint electronic percussion at one point. And strings, of course, as well. You almost want to hear the band come in, but it still works without the band. It's called A Chameleon, which is the opposite of a chameleon, which is an appropriate title because it wasn't written by Herbie Hancock. Hiccup is another cadenza-era sounding track, kind of like a slightly calmer cousin of Ocduck, and having similar elements, including the dual guitar thing. Streetlight is another one of the best tracks on the album. You get this strobe synth, blah 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 blah, blah, and some chorus guitar again, giving it a nocturnal vibe and a very 80s vibe. And also Duncan takes some lyrical cues from the lyricist laureate of Manchester, Morrissey. And some of the guitars are a bit Johnny Marr, especially because of the chorus. Of course, the Smiths never went synth pop themselves, but if they did, it would sound a lot like this. And there are some nice poetic lyrics, like "To be square in love's hateless mire." And yeah, it's just another one of the best songs on the album. Also, sharing that title of one of the best is the following track, Oh Yeah. It's the first time, really, the band has said the shit out of the title in the song. I mean, they kind of did it on Be Right Back on Oh Shudder, but Oh Yeah is like, it's there it is the first lyric that you hear. It's at the beginning of the verse and the chorus. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. So quite hooky. And it's a synth-laden, up-tempo sort of punky thing. You get a classic Robin Richards bass line and wonderful chords as well. Sync is also one of the best songs on the album. You get sort of Kraftwerk synth at the beginning, which sort of is the bass line throughout the whole track. You get a sort of classic rock guitar tone from Pete when he plays during the verses, but then it gives way to a more ethereal chorus with some vibes and some synth, maybe some chorus guitar as well. And it's again one of the best, if not the best. It's another song that really puts the title out there. It's the first word of the chorus. And then the last song, Overton, has a sort of orchestral string horn intro, but then it gives way to another sort of cadenza era or Out of Touch in the Wild sounding groove, again with the dual guitars, although one of them's just doubling the bass. But again, you have the orchestral elements with it as well, the strings, the horns, and some, maybe it's a mellotron, some synthesized vocal swells. You get some marimbas in the bridge, kind of hearkening back to Fester or Bellio or a lot of those other songs from Out of Touch in the Wild. But again, the orchestra comes in over them, so it's a real sort of fusion of Out of Touch in the Wild and Oh Shudder sounds. And then you get some heavy guitars at the end to close the thing out. So all in all, I would definitely say this is one of their best albums. It's up there with Cadenza, maybe even better than Out of Touch in the Wild or Oh Shudder. But I would say it's proof that they don't need Sped to be... They're pretty much the same with or without Sped. I mean, he wasn't one of the main composers while he was there, so... But they have done an excellent job of reduplicating the two guitar sound that they had with him. And as ever, it's a consistently good, ever expanding body of work that Dutch Uncles have. As I've already said a couple times, Big Balloon is quite possibly their best album yet. But that's just my opinion. I'm dying to know yours. If you've listened to this album, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments. And that's it. This is Neutron Sound signing off. Go forth and be awesome.